Hello and welcome to another episode of The Green New Perspective. Hopefully, your go-to podcast if you want to learn more about innovations happening within clean tech, nature tech, biotech, and agri-tech space. This week's episode is proudly sponsored by New Perspective, a Boston-based marketing agency working with clean tech clients. So if you want to learn more about our sponsor, please check out the info in the description of this video. My name is Dunya, I'm your host today, and my guest is the wonderful Catherine Rogero Lovisi, the CEO of the biotechnology company named Modern Meadow. They are using nature-inspired proteins to develop sustainable materials and products for fashion, beauty, and other industries like biomaterial alternatives to leather, for example. So with a track record in companies like L'Oreal, Revlon, Christian Louboutin, Catherine's expertise ensures product traceability and global scalability. So if you want to learn more about how to place your innovative technology on the global market or how to scale your sustainable business, stay tuned and listen to what Catherine has to say. Hello, Catherine, and welcome to the Green New Perspective podcast. It's really lovely to have you here.
Good morning, and thank you. I'm very honored to join you this morning.
It's morning at your place. It's 7 p.m. here. So good morning,
True,
good evening.
true.
So let us introduce you a little bit. So you held leading positions at big renowned companies like Revlon, L'Oreal, Christian Louboutin, and then you became the CEO of Modern Meadow, which is your company, a biotech company. So can you tell us what inspired this career change?
Well, as you mentioned, I spent 20 years in the either the beauty or the fashion industry, if you want, and all surrounded by amazing brands, and managing basically those brands right everywhere in the world, maybe in North America, or in Asia Pacific, or even globally. The move to go into Modern Meadow, who is as you say, biotech biofabrication company, was really associated with the desire to change a bit the world from within. I was at the tail end of innovation, basically receiving innovation and bringing them to market. And I felt that as we need to transition from technology that are just amazing in terms of performance, but take a toll on the resources that we are all extracting or consuming in as we speak, maybe animal input or petrochemical, I needed to join a company which innovation was to basically what we call now eco design, which is inject those requirements of substituting animal input and virgin petrochemical to by other input. And in this case, we use in the case of Modern Meadow either plant-based protein or polymer or polymers that we design or protein we design ourselves and produce via fermentation. So that's really the reason why I kind of went up the supply chain, if you want. Went from brands to innovator with solid tech that could bring to market product which are both performant and sustainable.
And can you explain to our listeners what do you actually do at Modern Meadow? But can you explain it in like simple words? Because we
Well, first of all, I'm not a PhD, so that's going to make it easier on everybody. I am very lucky. I'm surrounded by very smart PhDs and engineer, but fundamentally, I'm not. So I was brought into Modern Meadow to make to bring those innovation to market and grow them fast internationally. So in a nutshell, what do we do? Modern Meadow is an expert in protein and protein application. So if you take the scientific route, it's biology and material science. But basically, what we do is we take protein, or we understand protein, and we harness their property, and we apply them to stuff, if you want. So, in the case of, and you mentioned fashion, and you mentioned, right, we use plant-based protein, we purify them, modify them. Actually, it's a byproduct, right, of an industry. We don't actually compete with food. So we use byproduct of the agro industry, plant leftover, if you want. We extract and purify the protein out of it. we use this protein and we combine it with by other polymer, other molecule, if you want. We create a specific alloy, which is a solution, which is almost kind of I want to simplify it to the end level, which is almost like a Lego system. Depending on how many, the percentage of protein and how much of that solution you apply it and how you apply it, you get different performance. So we've created those building blocks and we combine them in different ways, and that helps us and allow us to develop textile, if you want, that looks and feel like leather but without animal input, or materials that are breathable. And when people are like, what breathable material? Yeah, it's your jacket, right? When you go outdoor and you do exercise, it's a material that allows your perspiration and your body heat to come out, but you to be protecting from the outside, right? So by using protein, we apply this solution to material, and it gives different look and feel and different property. Amazing color, breathability, as I say, can look and feel like leather, etc., etc.
And I wanted to, for the people who are not, let's say, who are not informed about the problems with the fashion industry, because that's what we're focusing on here. So why would someone want to replace the current textiles with biomaterials? What's the problem with the textiles that we're using at the moment, and why do we need innovative solutions in this field?
So I'm going to give very large stroke, right? Very big, very vague and stereotypical, because statement, because obviously there is the best and there is the worst in the fashion, as there is in many other industry. But fundamentally, what happened is that the fashion industry is a very large, and it's a growing industry, because all of us are very happy buying new garments, new shoes, new bags, and you have more and more of the population that is becoming entering the middle class, which is great. But the more you do that, the more we face challenges, which are basically, we need more land to grow more plant. We need more extraction of the petrochemical to provide materials that are what is known to be synthetic, because they are very performant material. So fundamentally, at their origin, at the input part, you already have a toll on the environment, if you want, because it's either extraction, it's either animal input, or it is petrochemical. The problem is also the process of converting those resources into a material that will become eventually textile. Also engage a lot of energy, a lot of water, generate a lot of waste. And this is where there is a second opportunity to improve the if you want, the processes of developing material for the fashion industry. The third part is some companies have taken the if I may say, the parti pris, like we say in French. They've decided to go into what we call fast fashion, which is more of a disposable fashion, and where durability and quality is not the focus. Which one of the most environmentally friendly gesture one could have is to buy something and keep it for many years. So this is where the fashion industry has basically identified opportunity at the input level, at the process level, and at the output level, knowing that a lot of the material that is developed is either burned or landfilled, or never used, no matter what. So there isn't a final opportunity, which is associated with waste management. So when we know that, and this is a very complex, very fragmented, very old industry that use so many different inputs, that's why I'm being a little bit generic. What we try to do at Monumeto is, first of all, to develop material that is as performant. So performant is a big word to say basically they're as good as what you have today, if not better. That the colors are as beautiful as the one that I see a beautiful orange jacket on you. The colors are as vibrant and as durable on the material versus on the washer, in the washer. That your material is abrasion resistant and is durable. As I mentioned, your breathability when you want to do certain activities. protective without falling apart or looking like an armor. Having the what we call the draping on hand feel is really the feel of the material itself and be as pleasant and comfortable. um, so all these are what we mention as performance, and these are the non-negotiable, if you want, when one develop a material for a specific application. And it could be shoes, could be jacket, could be bag, etc., right? Now, our objective is, as Monometal, is obviously not use any animal input, but also reduce to the minimum any type of virgin petrochemical input. We use upcycling and recycling because we believe that part of the solution is not only to increase bio content, but to use also materials that exist and don't have a home once they're used the first time. And this is where upcycling is very important for us. The final element, if you want, is developing material with the same quality or better quality, but with more efficient processes, meaning requiring less input, less water, less energy, so that it's less taxing in general. And this is what we do. And we do that thanks to, again, harnessing the properties of protein um, when we have a specific application in mind.
Um, I wanted to ask you, there are already some leathers, plant-based leathers out there that are starting to become more popular, like Pinatex, pineapple leather, cactus leather. They have been advertised as replacements for petrochemical leather or real leather, but then there are problems there. They're probably, like, most of the time they're coated with synthetic materials that not 100% plant-based. So what's the difference between the leather that you're making and those plant-based leathers that are out there and already selling?
So I think that what is interesting is, first of all, it's as you say, right? The materials out there, including leather, are not 100% bio.
Mhm.
So, and this is where I think people think, oh, leather is animal and therefore
Yeah.
is natural or is organic. And I'm saying yes, but not 100%. So what has happened is, in we as consumer are requiring specific quality from our material that nature cannot provide at its basic stage, including leather. I repeat, it's not only a problem of cactus or pineapple or whatever it is, right? So most material, including ours, does include some, and in our case, it's biopolymer.
Mhm.
It's a
Uh-huh.
biopolymer, but there is trace of petrochemical. This provides the material some a specific integrity. In our case, first of all, our plant-based protein is a byproduct of an industry that is the agriculture industry, and that is readily available, that is traceable, that is non-NGO, and that is not um, basically, if we were not using it, would be destroyed. This is a number one difference in terms of the input. The second is, because protein is such a marvelous molecule, it's not a filler. And most of the not quote unquote natural ingredients you have mentioned are fillers, meaning that they are creating weight or they are providing to some extent the body to the material, but they don't have mechanical property. Our protein has mechanical, I mean, our blend has mechanical property. That's why we have material that are extremely durable, if we wanted to, or they have amazing color spectrum. They have, again, breathability. This you cannot achieve them with the other material that you have mentioned. Um, Finally, in our case, we are scaled up. There is no limitation in terms of the amount that we can produce, and the cost is the same as current material, including leather, which is again a difference versus the brands or the companies you have mentioned. Um, so I would say they are bio innovator. I think there is a lot of room in the market for all of us. everybody needs to be very transparent and clear on what they're providing, both in terms of what the composition of the material is, but also the performance. In our case, we have unparalleled performance. I mean, some of the brand you mentioned, they do not have the durability, they do not have the color spectrum, they do not have the performance that we have, and we are full blown at scale at competitive pricing. So,
hmm And you mentioned some of the challenges within the fashion industry regarding sustainability. The fashion industry has made some progress there, but why do you think the progress is still small, considering the
so,
innovation?
so I think there is multiple things. Like, first of all, it's not all the not all the technology that are out there are provide the same quality that incumbent material provide. So it is very difficult to have a material that is look and feel like leather. We have one which is called BioVera, but is unique in the market. It's a non-animal derived hide that really looks like leather or suede, but it's extremely difficult to obtain. The same way, the material that is comparable to the competition you mentioned, which is called Biotex, we are in market, and we have brand like Sunrev, Evelyn, but also Tory Burch. And those brands have adopted Biotex, which is a coated textile that look and feel like leather, the way you want to see it in an accessory. But I think that, and we have to praise those brands who took the quote unquote risk to partner with us, which were, we are a startup, we're a small company. And I think that's what is the situation with the fashion industry today is basically multiple. Is the tech viable? Is the price competitive? Are you going to be able to produce in the quantities that are needed? And the final is, can you disclose what you are providing? Not every startup give an LCA, which is a life cycle analysis, which is a really an overview of the impact of the material we're putting in market. And in our case, we are providing hardcore data, both in terms of the quality of the material, but also on the sustainability profile. So compared to synthetic or compared to leather, the brands that are deciding to basically use our product in our material in their product, they know what they get. They know to the end level what they get. And I think that this level of transparency is also not very common.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you. Well, we had some of the guests here who are not particularly in the fashion industry or producing materials for the fashion industry, but we have some who really do that, like Lanzatech or Renewcell. I don't know if you heard of them.
Yes.
And
Oh, yes, of course.
yeah, and well, their challenges there. They're working with big brands, collaborating, but my feel is like the big brands are always making small capsule collections with innovative textiles and not, embracing it for larger quantities. Why do you think is that, and where do you see, let's say, challenges in the future, and where do you see opportunities from where we're at the moment? Will innovative tech brands will they be able to survive this market or not?
Well, I think that I'm going to start by your last question. I think that they will, we will survive. I think some of us are going to face, I mean, there is tailwind and there is headwind. So we need to survive because we need to provide alternatives that are not less taxing one way or another. So I think collectively we need to make sure that happens. Now, there are some tailwind, which is, the regulatory environment is pushing everybody in the right direction, making sure that not only we are basically providing transparency and traceability on the material, but also we are communicating in a way that is clear and simple and not misleading to consumer. And finally, what is what is the impact of your material in terms of scope 3 globally? The brands will have to face that. Some of them already are very clear that they've made pledge, so they have to find a way to basically fulfill their commitment. But I agree with you; it is slow, and they are scared. They're scared, or some of them are not incentivized. I mean, some of them don't see the need right away to do this. Some of them are scared because, again, they want to have a material that is as performant and that is at scale. The third, I would say, is just internal processes. Um, we're talking about materials that are very specific and they're very technical. And therefore, when a company like Modern Meadow presents a material like Biotex or BioVera or Biotex Shield, which is a membrane that we provide that doesn't use PFAS or solvent, but allows material to be breathable, for example, you would think it's a slam dunk, right? But you have to talk to the sustainability department, the innovation department, the purchasing department, the studio that is doing the design. You talk to so many different basically actor within each company that it takes a long time to get first what you mentioned as a collection. But in our case, we rarely do collection. We go for usually for
Uh-huh.
the gusto, but it takes a long time within the company to get all the actors aligned, agreed, and to sign at the bottom of the page to switch from a material they know is more polluting, but is they know the good, the bad, the ugly, to something that is new to them.
Uh-huh. And how is
The
difficult?
processes are slow.
Yeah, well, especially in big companies. But can you tell me, is the challenge maybe the communicating of the new technologies to consumers and then to potential collaborators, as in big brands, big companies as well? Because so far, when I'm talking to people from the clean tech, biotech, agri-tech, nature tech space here, they do say that the communication is a challenge because people are slow to accept new things. So how it has been for you?
I think companies and consumers are different.
Yeah.
We face different issues. Consumers, I think it's not a question of slow, right? If you tell them, okay, this is the same, you get the same thing but better, and it's less taxing on the environment, and it's circular in our case, and this and that, they will go for it. I think that the challenge is the misunderstanding or miscommunication. I think that a lot of the a brand or even innovators sometimes come out to say that, oh, we are 100% this and we're 0% that, and we are and it's not the reality. Again, there are a lot of misconception as well. People think that leather is natural. There is nothing natural in anything
Yeah.
we use. I don't want to pick on leather. It's the same thing with everything else that is around us. Everything is processed. And I think that people sometimes forget that, and they have this high expectation that are sometimes unrealistic based on where the technology is today. That said, it is our duty as innovator to not only continue to constantly go further and push the limit, but also to say what it does and it doesn't. At the end, we are on a journey. And yes, what I keep on saying is, in our case, we have material that are bio replacement. They are as good, but less taxing in terms of sustainability KPIs. And we have solutions that are bio best because they are unleashing performance that don't not even the existing material provide. But this is where we need to explain that to consumer. And unfortunately, sometimes we don't have they don't have the attention span to understand what the situation is today and where we're going tomorrow. In terms of the brand, I do believe that really their challenge is to simplify this message while being genuine and as transparent as they can. And this is again where we work with them to not only provide them innovation that are sound, but also how to simply communicate or communicate it as simply as possible to the end user.
You've mentioned traceability and transparency several times during this talk. So, can you tell me how can fashion industry benefit from having a similar level of transparency and accountability in the supply chain?
So I would say, first of all, it's not easy because every item that you sell at the end to a consumer is composed of and touched by hundreds of companies and peoples, right? So it's not an easy task. Is it impossible? No, because there are other industry, example the beauty industry, that has implemented systems that allow this traceability to exist. The reason why it's earlier in the beauty, hygiene, and health industry is because it is touching human health. Therefore, safety being what it is, those systems and processes have had to put into places 20, 30 years ago. Now, it is new to the fashion industry. A lot of things have to be set up, and a lot of things have to be at great cost. And this is where this is an industry that has very low margin and a lot of local players. That's why it's taking a little bit of time. In our case, we are a newer company, and we have had that in at our core from the get go. Therefore, all the ingredients that are composing our solutions, we trace them. This is how we do business with our current partners and any future partner. This is kind of a way we do business. Therefore, when we talk to a brand, they have the ability to really understand all the input and where it is being processed and produced and how. Again, that's to do an LCA. By the way, this is what you need. So no LCA would be possible if we didn't have this information. But this is not an easy task. But it is an important one, and it will allow every actor in the industry to not only understand a little bit better, be a little bit more accountable and responsible for what we do or don't do, and make more intelligent choices in general.
And how do you see the future of Modern Meadow? Do you see biomaterials changing traditional ones and then making the fashion industry better?
Oh, yes, yes, and yes. So I think the future for us is very bright. I think that there is a lot of work to do. There's a lot of opportunities. There is a lot of challenges that we can help solve. We will not and cannot do it alone. That's why we have tremendous amount of amazing partners that are going to help us, and we are joining to solve, because it is for the right reason. It is for the right reason in terms of business. It's the right way to do it in terms of for our teams and our partners and stakeholder. And it is the right thing to do for the consumer. And eventually it will be the right thing to do for the planet. But no, there's a lot of things to do, and we look forward to it.
And how to make biomaterials and all other more sustainable materials more available for brands and companies.
Well, in our case, we are, we obviously we talk today a lot about fashion, but we are fashion, footwear. We are talking to the automotive industry, the upholstery industry. We're talking to many, many industry, airline, some companies. All of them are looking for material that are as qualitative, but again, more environmentally conscious. So again, we are in many, many industries with different material. As I mentioned, Biotex Shield, BioVera, all materials that are that provide those opportunities or those possibilities to those big industries. All of them are wanting to do this, and we're going to join and partner with them. And you're going to see us, or you're going to feel us when you sit down, or when you hold a bag, or when you wear pants. You're going to be basically, the material is going to be powered by our innovation at Modern Meadow.
That's great to hear. For the end, can you tell me and our listeners, viewers, where they can follow Modern Meadow, where they can get more informed and learn about the other biomaterials that you mentioned that we didn't talk about here?
Well, I would say go to our website, and there you will see our partners, both in terms of brands and in terms of business. I mentioned Sunrayve, Everlane, Tory Burch, Closed, but there is also other partners that that we're working with, like the Syntex and the Limonta, or the BSF of the world, and these are the companies with who we work very closely to provide better innovation.
Yeah, we're going to mention all your handles in the description of the video audio, so everyone who's listening can check out the description and click on the links and find out more about Modern Meadow and Catherine. Thank you once again for being my guest on the Green New Perspective podcast. And my last question I have to ask you, how do you see the future of sustainability? Are you optimistic, cautiously optimistic, or?
No, I am optimistic because it is, as I said, it's the right things to do for financially, business wise, and human wise. And now, is it going to be a smooth ride? It hasn't been. It's not going to be. But it's a good challenge to for every one of us to tackle in our own way.
Well, thank you. That's a great answer. Thank you once again.
Thank you for joining this conversation about the incredible world of biodesign technology with Catherine Ruggiero Avisi, CEO of Mother Meadow. Her expertise in sustainable materials is shaping the future for fashion for sure, and beauty and beyond, with nature-inspired proteins. So to stay informed and be part of our informed clean tech community, don't forget to subscribe. So together we are building a future where sustainability meets innovation. So once again, thank you for tuning in, and hopefully I see you next time.